The Vedantas begin to teach the Atma Ekatva, oneness of Atma. On that there were objections. First, Ekatvam is not possible. Then Chaitanyam itself is not one Chaitanyam. There are two Chaitanyas, two consciousnesses. One consciousness is a nova, possessor. Another is a consciousness as a quality. And the Chaitanya Guna and Chaitanya Jnata. Chaitanya Guna and Jnata. That was a Ramanuja's Paksha. That we have, Swamiji has already refuted. That also we have seen in the last class. Or should we say again? I think we have said it already sufficiently. Yeah. Tesham api sakshitvad atmanaha. Because Atma is a sakshi of everything. This I think we have discussed already. We will proceed with the next. प्राणादिभिरेव अस्तु आत्मनः चिन्मात्रवादस्य निर्दोषत नहि साक्षिणं विना जागरितस्वप्नयोः प्रमात्रादयः प्रसिद्ध्यन्ति. Without sakshi, there is no pramatruttvam. Nahi न च सुषुप्ते तेषां भावः न च अवस्था प्रमातृ प्रमाणादिभिरेव अस्तु आत्मनः सविशेषता इति शङ्कनीयम्. तेषामपि साक्षित्वात्, because Atma is not pramatru. Means neither he is a knower of objects nor he is a possessor of knowledge. Means knowledge means vritti, antakarana vritti, various notions, ideas. So one who identifies with the thoughts of mind is pramatru, a subject related to object. So yeah, therefore Atma is not pramatru, because pramatru is dependent, is a relative. Pramatru is dependent, is a relative and not eternal. Pramatru is a relative because with reference to waking there is one pramatru, and with reference to dream there is another pramatru. He is not the same. That means he is changing, he is disappearing. Pramatrutvam is a relative, dependent upon the Atma, and is also non-eternal. So waking pramatru changes in dream, and dream pramatru ceases to be in waking. Both any pramatru whatsoever doesn't exist in sleep, ceases to exist, ceases in sleep. But the Atma, the very Chaitanyam, they are not two. The same pramatru relative is called, the relative consciousness is called pramatru. Changeless self-existing consciousness is called non-relative, non-relational, but an independent. Relative consciousness is called pramatru. Non-relational but independent and self-existing consciousness is called sakshi. That's all. And that independent consciousness alone is called pramatru, waking pramatru in the context of waking. The same thing assumes the form of dream pramatru in the context of dream. But in sushupti, he has no pramatrutvam, he remains as himself. The Chaitanyam remains as Chaitanyam because sushupti is not a context. Sushupti is not a situation. Therefore, that in the context of sushupti, Atma doesn't assume another special form. Atma does not assume another special form in sleep, because sleep is not a context. Context, by context I mean upadhi, a situation. It is not a situation, it is not an upadhi. Waking is an upadhi, is a situation. Therefore, Atma in the waking situation appears like pramatru and pramaya. In dream also, it appears like pramatru, seeing some false things. So, but in sushupti is free from any context. Atma is free from any context. Therefore, the same Atma which appeared as a waking pramatru in the waking state, dream pramatru in the dream state, remains himself without assuming any form. He assumed some waking form in the waking state. Now there is no need to assume, he remains himself. That means in the waking, the same Atma is there, but seen through the waking state, therefore appears something, some assumed some form. Okay. Therefore, Atma by itself is a pure consciousness. Savisheshata iti Shankarna cha avastha pramatru pramanadivireva astu atmanah savisheshata. So, pramatrutvam itself is not an independent reality. This is what common man thinks. Why common man? Every jiva. A jiva who is a knower of the world, knower of the things, experiences, knowledges and all this knowerhood alone, knowership, jnatrutvam, he takes this jnatrutvam is natural to me. It neither comes nor goes, nor it can be changed, nor it can be removed, nor it can be disowned. He thinks that jnatrutvam cannot be disowned because jnatrutvam is natural, unchanging, eternal. This is what he thinks. But he has to watch. He has to watch the avasthas, the way Upanishad, in the light of Upanishads, under the guidance of Upanishads. Under the guidance of Upanishads, one has to watch the avastha. Tattva vichara means watching the avasthas with the help of guidance offered by Upanishads. Upanishads give a guidance. Okay. Upanishads give a guidance. The guidance found in the Upanishads has to be used in order to watch. Otherwise, people, if they watch the avasthas on their own, they are sure to misunderstand because they have a wrong angle of looking at avasthas. In fact, the whole samsara, the whole jivatvam, the whole ajnana consists in looking at avasthas wrongly. We look at avasthas wrongly. In fact, this is what is mithya jnanam, the misunderstanding or wrong knowledge. If you look at avasthas in a proper angle, that is from the Sakshi standpoint, you understand avasthas don't exist apart from Sakshi. It is the Sakshi that is called by name of avastha, by the name of Pramatru, but there is no Pramatru, there is no avastha. They are only simple superimposition. Superimposition means they don't exist. You assume a thought and look at it and it appears like that. It's like you assume a thought and look at it and it appears as if it is there. So therefore, avasthas are only seen when you see them. When you see through avastha, they appear to be avasthas. When you don't take them to be avasthas, they don't exist. That's all. Avasthas don't exist independently on their own. It is only a way of looking. Therefore, the Chaitanyam, which neither begins, Chaitanyam doesn't begin with waking nor end with sleep. Chaitanyam neither begins in waking nor so Chaitanyam is in waking, Chaitanyam is in dream, Chaitanyam is in Sushupti. Oh, this is good, but again there is a misunderstanding. There is a likely misunderstanding that the Chaitanyam undergoes 3 states. Okay? We think that Chaitanyam undergoes 3 states. Sometimes it is in a waking condition, another time it is in a dream condition, again for some time it remains in a deep condition of deep sleep. No, this is not right. These 3 states don't exist for Atma. See, the states appear from the standpoint of states. This is most important. Most important. Note this. Note this in your mind. Avasthas appear from the standpoint of avastha. Atma doesn't have avastha. Adhyasa is from the standpoint of adhyasa. Atma itself doesn't have adhyasa. See, Atma itself doesn't have adhyasa. Atma appears to be adhyasta. That means Atma, Anatma, Adhyasa. From the standpoint of Adhyasa, Adhyasa is visible. Adhyasa is visible only from the standpoint of Adhyasa. On its own, Atma doesn't have it. Okay? Atma doesn't have Adhyasa. Similarly, Atma doesn't have states. States appear from the standpoint of states alone. They are no, when do you say waking? Being in waking, you look at waking and call it waking. When you are not in waking, there is no waking for you. See, this is important. There is no waking for you when you are not in waking. Waking appears by taking standpoint of waking alone, waking appears. Dream appears only when you take the standpoint of dream. That means the dream itself doesn't exist from the Sakshi. For the Sakshi. Waking doesn't exist for the Sakshi. Sakshi means Brahman. For Brahman, there is no world. It is our way of looking that makes it see as a world, and the all things. World are houses, money, people, relations, emotions, everything. Therefore, Atma, will I be able to speak today? There was no rest. Anyway, I'll try. At least half an hour, few minutes. If I become unbearable, I'll just go to sleep. Close the class. So, Sakshi, you change your focus of attention. When you focus on the object, you become a Pramatru. If your focus is on the waking object, you become a waking Pramatru. If you focus on the dream object, you become dream Pramatru. If you don't focus on any object, you are no Pramatru, you are Sakshi. Okay. If your attention is on the object, which object? Waking object, you become a waking person. If the dream object, you become a dream person. If no object, you cease to be Pramatru. You cease to be Pramata and you remain just consciousness. So therefore, there are no two things. One is Sakshi, another is Pramatra, they are not two. The same Sakshi called in the context of waking as the waking Pramatru. The same Sakshi is called as dream from the standpoint of dream. But by himself, he is just a pure consciousness, because by himself means without a context, without a situation. What is Atma? You can't say anything. No word applies there. No experience applies there. Okay, so similarly here, that is called Sakshi. Sakshi doesn't mean he looks at the avastha right in front of him and he looks at it. If you keep avastha in front of you and you look at it, you become Pramatru. Sakshi, when Sakshi witnesses things, what he witnesses, the witnessed becomes inseparable from Sakshi. That is the only way of Sakshi looking at it. When Sakshi looks at it, when the Sakshi looks at avastha, avastha doesn't exist apart from Sakshi. Okay. When Sakshi looks at avastha, avastha doesn't remain, should not remain. Okay. Sakshi is not like a Pramatru. He doesn't look at avasthas. Avastha means avastha, world and objects and time and place he doesn't see. Sakshi doesn't know time and place. Sakshi doesn't know subject-object duality. If Sakshi doesn't know subject-object duality, Sakshi doesn't know any other Pramatrutva. Because the very Pramatrutvam is Kalpitam in him. Kalpitam in him means he himself is called by another name in a given context. It doesn't make any difference to Sakshi. Sakshi remains ever Sakshi. That means your paying attention to object should go away. If you leave your attention from the object, what happens? The Gneya goes away, then Gnatrutvam also ceases to be. It finds no reason to continue. But Sakshi remains a Sakshi. The Pramatru has no reason to continue, because Pramatrutvam itself is not a reality. A tentative appearance alone. Okay, let us proceed. So, Teshamapi sakshitvad atmanaha. Atma is a sakshi. Sakshi means where should we look for it? Generally, people think sakshi means let us try to understand sakshi. Being pramatru, pramatru means a thinker and knower. So, as a thinker and knower, we try to understand sakshi. That is working for contradiction. Because pramatru doesn't exist. It is only a relative. A relationship with the external world is called pramatru. Otherwise, himself doesn't exist. He is only consciousness. He is only sakshi. Okay. So nacha avastha pramatru pramanadibireva astu atmanah savisheshata. Let there be pramatru pramana prameya. This alone is atma. Purvapakshi says, let us say pramata pramana prameya. This experiential state, this is atma, no change. Siddhanti answers no. Teshamapi sakshitvad atmanaha. Sakshi means unchanging. Sakshi means, how do you understand sakshi? What is the character of sakshi? What is the nature of sakshi? Changeless existence. Changeless and independent. See, the atma, the consciousness is changeless. Changeless because body changes, mind changes, sense organ changes, external world and people changes. They all change. Therefore, changing nature is not sakshi. Changeless. Second thing is independent. Sakshi is independent of mind and sense organs. It doesn't depend upon them. My sense organs and mind, are the one which makes sakshi appear as pramatru. That means we are taking we are putting upon us sense organs and mind. Body, sense organs and mind we put upon. That means we take a stand. We take a stand from the body. And that means you sit upon the body and look at Atma. Taking the body and look at Atma. Taking the sense organs, taking the mind, you try to look at Atma. So, taking a stand and try to look at Atma, one who takes the stand himself is pramatru. He becomes an obstruction. It doesn't allow you to see sakshi. To know sakshi means to be sakshi. To know sakshi means to be sakshi. There is no other way of knowing the sakshi. Without being sakshi, without being a pramatru, it exists. It exists because its very nature. Pramatru is not his nature. It comes in a context. And the context is not there. Like waking is not there in dream. No. No pramatrutva. And the dream also will go away if you directly look at the sakshi. Pramatrutvam, which is a situational, it doesn't have. Just as Akasha doesn't have a location, Akasha doesn't have an area, Akasha is universal. Similarly, Atma is universal. It's not a particular situation. Therefore, Teshamapi sakshitvad atmana. Atma is the witness of even pramatru. How do we understand? Atma is the witness of pramatru. Witness means, people think that witnessing means standing a pramatru, knowing something is witness. But okay, but how do you know that? Know the pramatrutvam. Pramatrutvam cannot be objectified. Note this. Gnyatrutvam, the knowership, cannot be eternal, independent, changeless. Knowership is changing. Changing means a tentative appearance. Don't think that knowership is one, Gnatrutvam is one, and Sakshi is one. There are two. Knowership is only a thought. Sakshitvam is a fact. Sakshitvam is a reality. It is a truth. And Pramatrutvam is only a tentative appearance of the Sakshi. So Pramatrutvam is not an entity parallel to Sakshi, is not an independent entity because it has no existence apart from Sakshi. That's important. Therefore, when you don't pay attention to external things, what happens? Mind remains in Sakshi. Then mind remains, mind merges into Sakshi. Mind remains with Sakshi means mind merges into Sakshi. Individuality merges into Sakshi. Why merges? Because individuality never existed apart from Sakshi. He has been Sakshi. The same Sakshi is called Pramatru, called Jnatru in a given context. That's all. Therefore, Adhyastena Sakshena Anumatramapi Adhishtana Bhuta Sakshi Sambhadyate Ityupapaditattvacha. Sakshi is never touched by Pramatrutvam. This is important. That means Sakshi from his standpoint, he never feels that he is an individual. He is a seeker. He is an individual. He doesn't have such a thought. Okay. So Adhyastena, it is an Adhyasta. Adhyasta means assumed. Assumed means who is assuming? It is assumption from the standpoint of assumption. That's a very important. It is assumed when from the standpoint of assumption alone, not from the standpoint of Sakshi. Therefore, Tadahur Vartikakara api, Swamiji quotes Sureshwaracharya, Vartika, Bodhadeva prasidhyanti balavasthadayo yataha. See, with the consciousness alone, states are seen. States are only states of consciousness. Tesham api sakshitvad atmana adhyastena sakshena. Adhyasta means, though it doesn't exist, it appears to be there. Take it to be there. That's what it is, Adhyasta. So, Adhyastena Sakshena Anumatramapi Adhishtana Bhutaha Sakshi. Okay. Therefore, Adhyastena Sakshena Anumatramapi. Sakshi never comes to be touched. Never comes to be touched, affected by Pramatrutvam. Means, for the Sakshi, there is no Pramatrutvam. But we see Pramatrutvam from our standpoint. But the real Atma standpoint, Sakshi doesn't exist. I mean, Sakshi doesn't exist as a Pramatru. Doesn't come to become Pramatru, either waking Pramatru or deep Pramatru or any other. So the entire Avastha, as we told, the Avasthata Viveka is like this. Sakshi himself is the knower of all the three states. Knower means he doesn't know one by one. He doesn't know, his knowing is not a relationship with mind and sense organ. It is. Therefore, Adhyastena Sakshena Anumatramapi Adhisthana Bhutaha Sakshi na prasidhyanti. Okay. I think, as I expected, I didn't have rest, so I am unable to speak. I'm falling asleep. Api bodhadeva prasidhyanti kalavasthadayo yataha. Avastha, kala, all these things taking the Sakshi, they appear. That means they are nothing but a parts of one aspects of Sakshi. Avastha is an aspect of Sakshi. Kala is an aspect of Sakshi. Desha is an aspect of Sakshi. So for the Sakshi, they are all himself only. They are all himself only. Time is himself. Waking is himself. Pramatrutvam is himself. So when Sakshi tries to see, he can't see them because they are his own roles. Like, you can see others dance. Others can see your dance. But when you dance, can you see your own dance? Your dance is not visible to you. You can video record and see them, but otherwise directly you can't see. When you try to see, you see your own body and hands and legs. The bhangis, various postures you assume, the beauty in the postures is as you wield wield the bow and arrow, you become Rama. You hold the chakra. See, they found out our Natyam, our Bharatanatyam and all our classical dancers, experts, our rishis, they have shown that one prominent feature. Just to act like a Krishna, to make an appearance of a Krishna, what should you do? Nothing. You take a chakra, hold the finger like this, call this like chakra. That's all. You look like Krishna. You just raise your dhanusu. That's all. Hold the dhanu like this. You look like Rama. See, one feature they have found out the main important feature. You take this feature that makes you look like Rama. Like Vamana. How does he walk? Like Narasimha. Ugra, he says. That's all. That means he is tearing the body, tearing the stomach of Narasimha, of Hiranyakashipu. So he becomes angry like this and tries to say, that's all. This posture gives you idea of Narasimha. You raise your hand like this. Chakra, holding the chakra like this. See, as you move it, you're holding the chakra. This one feature explains you, brings Krishna to your mind. You hold dhanusu, hold the bow and arrow in your hand, bow mainly. Hold the bow like this, then you are a Rama. Like this, one prominent feature, which is an identifying feature. This one feature gives an identity, a recognition to Rama, Krishna, or Buddha or anything. Buddha, just in meditative posture, that's all. Shankaracharya, teaching. Because Shankaracharya is a guru. He teaches the Bhashya and Vedanta. Therefore, you put Shankaracharya in sitting posture, open his eyes and teaches like that. So this symbol only means a teaching. Buddha, you show Buddha only in a meditating posture. Because Buddha's all teachings are reduced to, what you call? Mind, sense organs, body, Adhyasa, these things alone. Therefore, these are all aspects. A dancer cannot see his own dances. So one prominent feature, with that feature you can see. So this also only spectators see the postures in you. You can't see the postures yourself because they become identical to yourself. They become one with you. Similarly, Sakshi doesn't have any. So waking is a posture of him. Dream is a posture of him. Sushupti without any posture. Stand by yourself. When Nartaki suspends her dance, how does she look like? That is Sushupti. In Sushupti is a time, Sushupti is a condition of the Atma where when it suspends its all our activity. Okay. So therefore, Sakshi is independent of Avastha. But what is Avastha? Avastha and Sakshi, how do you relate? How do you understand? Are they two? No. Avastha is an aspect of Sakshi. Sakshi exists. Avastha only taken to be one aspect of Sakshi. That's all. If you take the standpoint, it appears. You drop the standpoint, it doesn't exist. Similarly, Avastha is only a standpoint taken to view the Sakshi, because the entire Sakshi cannot be viewed through thought. Entire Sakshi cannot be viewed through thought because Sakshi is yourself. How can you see yourself as a Sakshi cannot see, just as a dancer cannot see his own posture, his or her postures. Others can see, but he can't see. He or she cannot see. Similarly, Sakshi doesn't see any states within himself. Sakshi doesn't see any states because states are identical to him. He alone is. He is a pure existence. That his own pure existence, pure consciousness appears as an individual because it is tentatively assumed. But if you take that individuality as a real, his sufferings are real, knowledges are real, karmas are real, then you become really stuck with your individuality. Okay. Therefore, that individuality is only a posture. You drop the posture. That means you expand your vision from the posture. you come to yourself. You come to the Sakshitvam. You come to yourself. Okay, so let us proceed. बोधादेव प्रसिद्ध्यन्ति कालावस्थादयो यतः मातृमानादयश्चापि कुतस्तैरस्य विक्रिया. Now, Atmaikatva Siddhi. Let us proceed with the next topic, 68th passage. Atmaikatva Siddhi. Atma Ekatvam exists. Purvapakshi says, Yat punarashankyate natmaikatvam bhashyatmanoh aikyam va pratipadayitum arhanti vedantaah. Purvapakshi says, Upanishads are not teaching Atma is identical to Brahman, nor they are teaching all Atmas are one Atma only. See, Purvapakshi says, Atmaikatvam Brahmatmanor aikyam va pratipadayitum arhanti vedantaah, because Jiva Nanatvasya suprasiddhatvat. Because we know there are many Atmas. How can you say Atma is one? There are many Atmas. Don't we see that with the people? There are many, like me, I am one Atma, and there are all you are Atmas. There are so many Atmas. Innumerable. Therefore, Atma Ekatvam, Upanishad cannot teach. If Upanishad teaches all Atmas are one, my God, some Atmas are suffering Jivas. Some have committed Papa. Then all the Papa, Punya, Sukha, Dukkha, Allah comes to me. Because if I am also same as all Atmas. But here, this is the Purvapakshi says, Atma Ekatvam should not teach. Upanishad is not teaching. If it teaches, it will be a great harm rather than help. He thinks like that. Purvapakshi is misunderstanding. Now, Atma Ekatvam Brahmatmana Ekyam. Neither all the Atmas are one Atma, nor the Atma Brahma is together as one. He says no. Because Pratipadayitum arhanti Vedanta Jiva Nanatva. Because Jiva Nanatva. There are many Atma is well known to all. How can Upanishad teach against everybody's experience? See, this is how the Purvapakshi talks. Adityadi jivebhyaha paramatma bhedasya sutam shravanacha iti. Therefore, Paramatma is different from Atma is very clear. Just there are some Shastras they teach you. Atma is something deeply inside you, beyond you, and you are a limited form of Atma. So, Adityadi jivebhyaha paramatma bhedasya sputam shravanacha. Upanishads clearly say that Paramatma is different from Atma. This is what Purvapakshi tells. Siddhanti says, na tad ativa mandam. This is totally wrong. Ativa mandam means it is a wrong understanding. It is too wrong to be stated. You don't need to say it is so perfectly, thoroughly wrong, completely wrong. Why? Because Atma Nanatvasya Loka Siddhasyaiva. See, Atmas are many, Shruti is not teaching. This you remember. The Jiva, man himself thinks that there are many Atmas. But Upanishad is not teaching many Atmas. So what people think to be many Atmas, Upanishad is only quoting them tentatively, so that the next step will be followed, understood. Therefore, Jivananatvam is only Shruti does the Anumana. Shruti is not confirming, Shruti is not revealing. Shruti is neither confirming Anekatvam of Atma, many Atmas, existence of many Atmas. Neither Shruti is teaching, nor it is advising. Okay. Now, Atmekatvam Brahmatmanor Ekyam va Pratipadayitum arhanti. Upanishads cannot teach that because Ativa Mandam. Purvapakshi says that. Siddhanti says no. Upanishads teach the very fact which you are denying it. It teaches all Atmas are one or Atma Brahma is one. Either way it is same. Okay. So, Jiva Nanatvasya suprasiddhatvat Adityadi jivebhyaha paramatma bhedasya sputam shravanacha. Aditya, sun, moon, star, the earth, water, rivers, mountains, all these things. lokasiddhasyaiva shrutanuvadhatvat atmananatvasya. Many atmas Shruti is teaching as if they are there, because since we think, okay, it is assuming and talking. Atmananatasya lokasiddhasyaiva shrutau anuvadat. But the reality is, ityadi vachanair ekartatvaya atmai vedam sarvam. See how Upanishad says. All this is Atma alone. That means Atma doesn't have an individuality. Atma is not a jiva. It is not one of the many parts. It is only one non-dual. Ativa mandam, tad ativa mandam. Okay. Atmananat tasya lokasiddhasyaiva shrutanuvādat atmai vedam sarvam ityekatva avadharanat. ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತು ತಾನು ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಆತ್ಮ ಒಂದೇ ಎಂದು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆತ್ಮೈ ವೇದಂ ಸರ್ವಮಿತ್ ಏಕತ್ವಾವಧಾರಣಾತ್ ಯತ್ರ ತು ಅಸ್ಯ ಸ್ವಾತ್ಮೈವಾಭೂತ್ ತತ್ರ ಯತ್ರ ತು ಅಸ್ಯ ಸರ್ವಂ ಆತ್ಮೈವಾಭೂತ್ ತೇನ ಕೇನ ಕಂ ಪಶ್ಯೇತ್ ತತ್ರ ಕೇನ ಕಂ ಪಶ್ಯೇತ್ ತತ್ ಕೇನ ಕಂ ಪಶ್ಯೇತ್ ಇತಿ ಆತ್ಮೈಕತ್ವ ದಶಾಯಾಂ ಭೇದ ದರ್ಶನ. In the ekatva atma, there is no bheda. Bheda is not visible. Where the bheda is visible, atma ekatva is can't be understood. Okay. Lokasiddhasya shridhanavadhatvat atmai vedam sarvamityekatva avadharanat. Another thing is atmai yatra tu asya sarvaya atamutkena kampashet. All these statements negate the multiplicity of atmas. Okay. So they appear to be many due to upadi, but not by itself. Kutra tu asya sarvasyatmaiva bhutkena kampashet. Ityatmaikatva dashayam bheda darshana apabadat pare vyaye sarva eki bhavanti. Another thing is, all these atmas are one, or all these atmas become one with atma, one with Brahman. This is another way of telling. So, sayoha vai tat paramam veda brahmaiva bhavati. Those who know paramam Brahma, he becomes himself the same Brahma. Okay. Sayoha vai mai tat paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati. Okay. So, kshetrajnanchapi mam vidhi. Even Bhagavad Gita says, the Atma which is the kshetrajna, the consciousness is Brahman only, is inseparable from Brahman. Ityadi vachanai rekartatvaya paramatmani sadharmya vachanayor atmaikya parata iti yojayitum yaktatvacha. Bhagavad Gita clearly says, mama sadharmya magata. He becomes one with me, mama sadharmya magata. With this vakya, all this gets refuted, that there are many atmas are many, ekatva is not possible. All that gets refuted because Upanishad is telling and it anubhava siddha only. So ityadi vachanai rekartatvaya parisamapti asambandha paramasamya sadharmyam. Paramasamyam sadharmyam Bhagavad Gita talks of how jiva becomes one with Brahman, to show that paramam samyam apaiti, highest similarity. There can't be highest. Highest is only Ishvara only. There is no other than Ishvara. Therefore, Paramasamyam Sadharmya Vachanayoho Atmaikyatya Parata. Atma Ekatvam. Atma is one alone is revealed by this kind of explanation examples. Okay. Jyoti Ityadi Vachanai Rekartatvaya Paramasamya Sadharmya Vachanopa vachanayor atmaikatya yojayitum yaktatvacha tasmat saduktamevaitam asya anartha hetoh. Therefore, the concluding statement of Bhashyakara is tenable and is correct, foolproof. Asya anartha hetoh prahanaya. To correct this cause of the anartha. What is the cause? Adhyasa. Adhyasa itself is the cause of all anarthas. It brings about many anarthas, many evils. Therefore, saduktam asya anartha hetoh prahanaya. Anartha is kartrutva, bhoktrutva, sukha dukkha. All these things are anartha. All this goes away with Atma. Okay. अस्यानर्थ हेतोः प्रहाणाय आत्मैकत्व विद्या प्रतिपत्तये सर्वे वेदांत आरभ्यन्ते इति सर्वम् अवदातं. Therefore all this is right. 68 we have finished passage. Now 69 passage. Sarva vedantanam api atmaikatva paratve shanka. Do all the Upanishads teach Atma's unity only? The doubt comes. Do all the Upanishads teach? No, some of them may not teach the Advaita. This is the another doubt. Someone else he says all Upanishads teach that one alone. They have nothing else to teach. If this is stated like this, then he accepts it. Okay. Next is Sarva Vedantanam api Atmaikatva Vishaye Shanka. Shanka and answer. I think if you give the doubt and answer, I think this chapter will be over. And then one last point uliyuttade. I think we can finish in for 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks I think we can finish. Let us see. 4 or 5 classes. He is now this next portion only I can read out. I think there is nothing to explain. Okay, let me read out. I think we have got 5 minutes. I'll read out. 69th point, there is nothing to say. Katipayanam Vedanta Vakyanam Aikya Pratipadakatvam api Tathapi na sarvesham Vedantanam Tatparatvam Adhyasatum Yujjate. See, and he says, how can you say all the Upanishads are unanimously teaching one Brahman, that Advitiyam Brahman alone? Some of the Upanishads might be teaching. People say some Upanishads teach Advaita, some Upanishads teach Dvaita. Therefore Advaita is also correct, Dvaita is also correct, all are equally correct. See, therefore, similar to that he is telling, some Upanishads might be teaching Advaita, but all of them don't teach. This is what Purvapaksha is telling. Yathahi Vadinaha, because there are many scholars, many schools of philosophy, many darshanas within Hinduism alone, within our Vedika Dharma alone. See how they talk, how different people take different tatparya from the Upanishads. Some people take something, some people... Now how can you say all Upanishads are unanimously teaching one truth alone? There are many truths because people are deriving many meanings. One is Vadina Kechit Mimamsakas. See what Mimamsakas say. Atmana Kartrutvat Karma Sheshatvam. Atma is a Karta. Therefore, he is one of the... He is a part of karma. Atma being Karta... Atma being a Karta, agent of action, he undertakes action and he becomes one of the many parts involving karma. One of the many parts that carry out karma, that bring about karma. So Atma is one of the many factors. Who say like this? Mimamsakas. Therefore Atma is only a Karta. Ato jnanasyapi karma sambandhitvam iti. Therefore, jnanam is also related to karma because Atma is by nature karta only. Now you are telling that Atma is ekatvam, advitiyam and Brahma and all that. But some people reading the same Upanishads like Mimamsakas, they derived a different meaning. They arrived at a different meaning. They arrived that Atma is karta. Atma Vakya. Then what about directly Upanishads teach that Atma is Chaitanyam and Akarta, Bhokta? How do you interpret those Vakyas? They say, Atma Vakyanam tu Kartru Prashamsa Paratvam. Whatever they talk about Atma, Brahma, all that is only to praise the Jivatma only. This is what Mimamsakas say. Upanishads are teaching, you are Atma, you are Chaitanya Swarupam, Satchidanandam, Brahma, Kala Rahita, Desha Rahita, Marana Rahita and all that. And he says, these Mimamsakas say, all that is only simply praising, don't take them seriously. They are not teaching a truth, they are only praising. Atma is originally Karta. So all Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam is only to praise Atma to the top. Atishayokti. Niratishaya Sukha Vachitvat Sarga Shabdasya Na Sargathir. Then what is moksha? If Atma is a Karta only, what is his moksha? Attaining the Swarga and enjoying the Swarga Sukham is moksha. Okay. Iti Tesham Ashaya. Just like Arya Samajas talk like this alone. Swargatirikto moksha asti. There is no moksha other than Swarga. Atmajnane phalashrutir arthavadaha iti cha tesham. Then Atmajnanam Upanishad gives. How can you deny that? They say no. Atmajnanam that is taught in the Upanishads is only a superficial. It is a atishayokti exaggeration. It is only to praise the kartru rupa atma, to praise the atma which is a karta. Okay. Niratishaya mokshas. Okay. Next who are say mokshasya? Who are these people? Mokshasya atma swarupa avasthana lakshanatvepi. Here is the people. Okay. Attaining the Atma Swarupam is moksha. Second darshanika, second philosopher says, okay, moksha is abiding in, resting in one's own Atma. That is true. But that Atma Swarupa Prapti, attaining the Atma Swarupa, obtaining the Atma Swarupa comes not by jnana but by karma. Kamya Pratisiddha Varjana Purvakam. He has to do Nitya Karma, avoid the Kamya Karma and Pratisiddha Karma. And like that, he gives a plan of karma. A plan of karma. By doing these karmas alone, you will attain the natural state of Atma. This is the see. How different people are arriving at different tatparyas from the Upanishads. How can you say all the Upanishads unanimously teach the same thing? This is Purvapakshi's objection. Or another people, Anye tu tesham sarveshu lokeshu kamacharo bhavati. Next is Brahmaloka Prapti. Next say people Brahmaloka Prapti. So to attain the Brahmaloka or Ashtasiddhis you will find it. Ityadi Shruti Pramanyatartha Upasana Sangnitam. Upasana is the jnana that is meant here. And if you follow them, what will you get? You will get lot of siddhis. Whichever you want, you will get it instantly. That is the great, that is Purushartha, that is Moksha. Natu Kartrutvad Adhyasa Nibarhi Jnanam Vedant Vedoktamasti Tyahuhu Apare. Third people say, no, third is over. Third we have stated. Third is that Ashtasiddhis you will get it and you will get whatever you like. Natu Kartrutvad Adhyasa Nibarhi Jnanam Vedoktamasti Tyahu. But Upanishads don't teach to give up Kartrutva. They are only teaching Atma as a Karta only. Next is a fourth philosopher. Adhyapi Advaita Atma Pratipadakani Vakyani Santi Vedanteshu Yadyapi Tathapi Tesham Atmavare Drashtavya Ityadi Vakyavihita Upasana. Okay, Upanishads teach Advaita Atma yet, but that jnanam is only for Upasana only, not for understanding. Tad Upasana Devacha Vidyani Vrittihi Sharira Patottara Kalam. And then after the death of the body, you go to Brahmaloka. Okay, fifth. Anye Punaratma Prapancha Pravilaya Vidhana Paratvam. They say Atma Prapancha, everything is merged into Atma. Prapancha, all these things is merged into Atma. Aparecha Tattvamasi Ityadi Vakya Janya Jnana Prasankhana Vidhi Paratvam Ahur Vedantanam. Vedantas teach, Vedantas advise you to do meditation. Meditation is the sadhana. Meditation means upasana. You have to do upasana. By doing lot of upasana, you will get phalita. Tadevam, in this manner, there are many interpretations of the Upanishads. So each philosopher is deriving some meaning, some tatparya of the Upanishads. Therefore, Atmaikatva Pratipattaye, to understand that Atma is one, not this many relations, this many changes, all of them mean only the one. So, in order to teach that, Katam Ekatva Pratipattaye Sarve Vedantana Marambaha iti Shakyam Vaktum. How can you say that all the Upanishads unanimously teach Ekatvam only? Here you see how different people understood differently. Santi hi vakyani taistair vadibihi swabhipraya avishkarana parataya vyakyayamanani atona yukti madam pratibhatyatmaikatva vidya pratipattaye sarva vedanta sara arambha pratigyanamiti chet. Okay, therefore Purvapakshi concluded it. This is the 69th passage. Now the 70th. In 70, Siddhanti replies. Tatha cha yamartaha sarvesham vedantanam. We will show you in the Brahma Sutras how all the Vedantas unanimously come to teach one Advaita Brahman. How this happens, we are going to show in the entire Brahma Sutras. Asyam Sharirika Mimamsayam Pradarshayishyamaha. Now, this Vakyam he explains. I think this Vakyam consists of 2 pages. We will do in the next class. I think last concluding days we have come. There are a few points are there. Some Jivan Mukti and a few points. Those points alone I will discuss. Other things I think we can do quickly brush up. And all these things we have elaborately discussed. So 70th passage. 70, 71, I think over. Only 2. 70 and 71. 72 is just a concluding 2-3 sentences. So 70, 71, we have got only 2 khandas, 2 passages to discuss. With this, Sugama will be over. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.